Wagwan, everybody, welcome back. Glad you made it. It's a social production. We're doing it on Wednesday, November the 27th, 2024. Thank you for joining me once again. If it's your first time, buckle up, buckle down. Where can you find these videos? On Instagram, follow me there. Subscribe on the YouTube channel so you get the full-length videos. Check out patreon.com/RobSadri if you'd like to fiscally, financially support the show. If you've been with me from the get-go, sending all the love right back to you. Wherever you're tuning in from, if it's Canada, Wagwan to me familia, down south in the United States of Americas, over there further down south, Mexico, further down south than Mexico, South America, over there it's Africa, Asia, Europe, the Antarcticas, the Arctic, New Zealand, Australia, Papua New Guinea, Thailand, Taipei, over there in Bangkok, over there in New Zealand once again, over there in Sydney, Australia, hello, Melbourne, over there in Ireland, in Wales, over there in Senegal, or Portugal, Turkey, gobble gobble, Greece, over there in Zimbabwe, Trinidad and Tobago. Trinidad and Tobago or not Tobago, that is the question. It's good to be alive, it's good to be kicking. It is another wonderful Wednesday. I believe it's Thanksgiving down south in the US, which is, I hear it, so it gives us a second chance to be thankful for many of things, and I'm thankful for these tits. So blessed be the ones with the firm titties out there. Thank you for joining me. Let's get right into it. It's a lot to discuss as per usual. Just gonna have fun, let it rip. Gonna hang loose, see where it goes, and enjoy this cup of coffee with you. So here's to the gang, sip sip. Some of you might have already heard this, but I'd like to just take a moment, reiterate. If you missed it, we've had a breakthrough. Scientific community, scientists, myself included, as the lead scientists. What did we do together? The collective, we, that is, us as a group. We collectively used artificial intelligence, AI, for the first time, ladies and gentlemen, groundbreaking news. And I spearheaded this movement position. Something we did it. I don't like to take full credit, but science is teamwork, and there is only me and team. You get it. The point, we used artificial intelligence for the first time ever. We broke barriers. We started to communicate with whales. We read their minds, and they read our minds back. I don't particularly, because could I break it down into scientific jargon? I don't want to lose the audience by getting too technical, so I'm going to stay away with the scientific jargon. What you need to know is what's important is that we started talking with whales. Communicated for 20 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. That's incredible. Now, I read a few articles just to see, what we communicated. You're like, you were there, and I'll tell you, because that's the part in the articles I only read that we communicated for 20 minutes. What was said between the humans and the whales was not actually left. They didn't put up the transcript, but I'll gladly provide it for you, because you're wondering, what are the whales? So oh my God, we got another animal speaking. The chimps are using tools they're learning to use more tools, which is nice. And now we got the whales talking. That's cool too. What do they say? They said that, and then more. They said, what did they say? I'll tell you what they said. They said, come get this fine, wet whale pussy. If you want this whale pussy, I see you there floating in the boats. Come get this whale pussy. It's wet, it's large. This wet pussy, come get it. This whale pussy, you want it? Come get inside this pussy. Jump off your boat. Crawl up my pussy and wiggle. Insert your entire body inside my pussy and wiggle a little bit in this giant whale pussy. You want it, you got it. A lot of cushion for the pushy. You like them fat girls, I got you. It said that. What else it said? Said a lot of things. Quit putting the plastics in the water. There's too much plastic in the water in the oceans, but also come get in this wet whale pussy if you want it. Bring your family, bring your friends, get up, crawl up in this giant whale pussy. Said that. Also said it asked for it. Wi-Fi under the sea, under the ocean. Give me that Wi-Fi, because this giant whale pussy needs some Wi-Fi to get on the internet and get the apps and start socially interacting with the other species out there. Said that, amongst other things. It said other things too. Keep getting in that pussy, because you like a big whale pussy. So I'm like, I as a lead scientist, I was a little bit, I didn't want to interrupt, of course. I listen, I'm a listener. I listened. What else did it say? It said, invest in Bitcoin for me. I got 100,000 cash invested in Bitcoin for me. I want to see that bitch crawl up to $1 million. I'm like, you get access to that kind of information in the deep sea and the deep ocean? And of course, this big whale pussy gets that kind of information in the deep depths of the ocean. Of course, I get to come crawl up in this bitch. Bring me some tuna. Bring me some shrimp. Daddy, mommy is hungry. Trying to figure out if it's a female or a male. I don't quite know at this point. The dead kid insisted that we crawl up in its pussy. So I'm just letting you know. I'm just letting the entire scientific community was baffled, of course. But we're intrigued and we want to know more. Invest in some real estate. Let's build some condos in this bitch. Stack them up. Rent it out. Wants to get into development. I don't know what these whales are up to, but it is apparently, it's mating season. I can tell you that. Your regular human pussy don't compare to this giant whale pussy. Look at these lips, pussy. Kept saying that. I don't know if it was calling me a pussy, all of us a pussy. It just wanted us to crawl up in it. I don't know. I'm not here to... Again, this is the first time we're communicating with whales. It's a lot. It is a lot. I, for one, am happy. I'd like to see other animals interacting with humans as well. It is. Brace yourselves, because you don't know what these guys are going to say. You don't. You never know. But again, no judgment. We're just happy to see, I want some shoes for my tiny feet, aka these tiny fins on this giant body. Who designed me? Why do I have such tiny hands? I'm a giant whale. Come get this pussy. It's wet. Put your fist in my blowhole, motherfucker. I'm gonna squirt all over your ass. It said that. It said just like that. And it is a lot to take in, ladies. And come put your entire head in my blowhole, bitch. Crazy what these whales are up to. But I don't, it's got a lot of time. They're by themselves mostly, I think. Or maybe they're in groups, but this one was alone just talking. And we listened. So... Get that whale pussy. Don't be, and it's like 10x or 100x the size of human puss. So that's a lot of puss. Be sure to, if you're like, I need something that could really take this dick. I got a big dick. You'll say that to yourself. We all say a lot of things, of course, but nonetheless, I'll say to myself, and I'll say to you guys as well, the fans, if you're just subscribed today, because you're on your way to becoming one of the members of one of the biggest podcasts on planet Earth, one of the biggest, girthiest podcasts on planet Earth, amongst all the other girthy, large podcasts. And this one's big. It's a grower, not a shower. And it's big. It'll get bigger. Tell you if you believe when she tells you that yours is the biggest and the best, then we can all agree that this is one of the biggest and the best too, all right? Or if you tell her that that's the tightest, best well, we can all just, be a little bit, I don't know what I'm saying. I'm just saying we're making strides, teeny tiny baby steps, but nonetheless, what am I even talking about? I don't know. Get that whale pussy. Do not leave them hanging, because, man, I tell you, if they make their way out of the water, ooh, boy. Ladies and gentlemen, there's so many things, so many great, amazing, adventurous things happening in and around the world. I just read recently that we've collectively, again, together, we've discovered a giant sinkhole, a gaping sinkhole in China. Apparently in the southwest corner of China, in the forest region, in the lush regions of the Chinese forests, the the green areas of China. There's just sinkholes, giant sinkholes. This one's interesting in particular because it's like 630 feet deep, and they've found forests in this giant ass gaping hole of a sinkhole, which is fantastic because who knows what else is growing down. You know me, if you've been with me from the get-go, if you're just tuning in, you're like, what are some of your favorite things in life? Holes. I love holes. I'll say it again until I won't stop. Till I don't know till when, but I won't stop. I love holes. And a hole in the earth is just another hole that you could just get excited about. So it's a giant gaping hole. It's a sinkhole, but there's a forest inside this sinkhole. And again, 630 feet below ground level, which is and that's not even the biggest one. Apparently China is home to some of the world's largest sinkholes, which, by the way, I'm not saying that we should all be, competing for but like also let us come. Why don't we here in Canada with all this land, why don't we get a gaping sinkhole, or the United States? Where's our biggest sinkhole in the West? I want a large hole that I can crawl into and just put a friggin' blanket over me and give me a little pillow and let me just tuck me in and let me sleep in a sinkhole. Who knows what else is down there? I'm excited. They're saying uncontacted species of species, animals, new plant animal species, a hybrid plant animal species, a bat, maybe new species of bats, perhaps new species of monkeys, monkey bats. That could all be the crab monkey bats. Little bugs that are poisonous, but if you ingest them, you might hallucinate and touch God or have God touch. I don't know what's down there, but it's exciting. Little men, little tiny humans, not babies, but tiny humans, not midgets. Magical, little hobbits. Who knows what's the fairies with wings. It could be. Let's get us a sinkhole. Canada, please, let us come together. The United States, we're so close. Let us get together and create a giant sinkhole. And how do they get a forest down there? Because I'm like, sinkholes that I've been exposed to through the onlines, of course, not in person. They just seem to be, you're walking around one day, the ground is flat, it's normal, and all of a sudden it just sinks, and then you're like, oh, what happened? And they're like, we don't know. Empty, the below surface level is probably emptied out or hollowed, and we put too much weight on it, or whatever, or fracking some, hundreds of miles. Who knows? Whatever the reason, but you don't have these older, giant gaping sinkholes that have forests in them. That's amazing. Which is, with the current, I'm not saying like alternative, living accommodations. Yes. Is it extremely expensive to, afford housing in most of the world and a lot of, it's, I'll say Toronto, expensive. So we could get, I'm just saying, maybe we can't build everybody affordable housing. We can't build a house for like 100,000, but we can dig a hole. I'm saying just throw a couple of dynamite just got so much land, just gaping hole, put a cover over it, and then come out, like hibernate for winter time, put the cover over, because if trees and plants and species that have not been discovered can grow and, thrive down there, who knows which one of us can also thrive underground. Oh, do we have midgets underground? What if we find an extra species of midgets out there? And I love midgets, but I'm talking about like magical midgets, the ones that just like to, indulge in a lot of, hallucinogenics and just, they got webbed feet for some reason. I don't know. Half mermaid, half midget. Which, the world is our oyster. It's incredible. I'm excited for it. I'm just advocating. I'm just letting people know, if we could come together, put up a couple of gaping holes. And I got to tell you, if you look at it, if you Google search this quickly or look at I'm sure there's some videos of it too. They've done it overall, I think they had drones. Obviously, we have drones nowadays. I go over everything and we capture images. It looks like a giant vagina. It looks like an earth vagina. I think that's what a sinkhole is. It's probably an earth vagina. Maybe the earth has, and that's the thing. Maybe, maybe if the aliens do land, maybe the aliens have these, maybe the aliens come in like tiny little, not so tiny, but like they come in, maybe planets, maybe giant planets come and penetrate. Maybe that's the Earth kind of like putting it out with a nice, it's in the jungle, it's in the forest, it's lush, it's a nice bush, and it looks like a giant gaping vagina. So maybe that's the way of the Earth, like saying out to the ether, or the, to the universe, come get this Earth, pussy. Come get it. You want it? Insert. Just saying, it's a lot to be discovered out there, and I'm glad to be a part of it. Again, spearheading most of the movements in 2024, moving into 2025. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Wednesday, and of course, many of us, don't like to hear certain things, or partake in certain things, but nonetheless, that doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. That doesn't mean that it's not a necessary service that's not being taken seriously, and we need to somehow, I say, what am I even talking about? I'm talking about evidence tampering, bitch. Evidence tampering. Nobody likes it. Most people don't like it. There's some people that do like it, evidence tampering. And I thought to myself, and you hear about it, not so much in like, you and I might not hear about it, but like you hear about it in like movies, you hear about it in like maybe high profile, there was evidence, there was a case of evidence tampering, they'll say that. And it's like, okay, fine, there is evidence tampering in some case, but like who, first of all, does it? How do they, because there's no evidence tampering school, and there are no courses you can take online. Who do you even reach out to? Like if you need some evidence to be tampered with, who do you read? Do you go to the local gas station, pick up a couple of condoms, pick up a little bit of Tic Tacs, pick up a couple of magazines? I mean, do you happen to know anybody who specializes in evidence? And they'll tell you no, they don't, because that'd be because who know that? You get online, go on the dark web, the deep dark web, the black web. The web noir, as they call it in French, I think. Get in there and you search who shows up, just an amateur who doesn't know how to tamper with evidence. You need professionals, which is why I decided to open up start a company, start a business, start a service for people out there who are in need of evidence to be tampered with. What I like to, and I think there's many different ways you can tamper with evidence. First of all, they say when you arrive to the scene of the crime, you leave everything be, is what they want you to do. Leave everything, because you do not want the evidence to be tampered. You do not want to contaminate or cross-contaminate, cross-pollinate. I don't know. They don't want you. They say put on the gloves. They say put on rubber plastic gloves on your feet, shoes. Put on, get in a hazmat suit, get in get a beekeeper's outfit. Come in, to put the bees outside, put your beekeeper outfit on, come in there. But those are the things they tell you if they don't want you to tamper. But what if somebody needs you to tamper? So I thought, I'm like, okay, first and foremost, come, just strut all over the evidence and the scene of the crime. If you're drinking coffee or maybe munching on a little, jelly donut, spilled donut all over the evidence. There's a dead body with blood scattered all over. Maybe give yourself a little bit, just maybe carry a little pocket knife. Give yourself a little, just a teeny tiny stabby, just a little teeny tiny shanky poo right there. Just start bleeding on top of the already, shed blood on the grid. So you mix the blood. So that's one way of tampering with evidence. A lot of times they're like, man, there seems to be there's jizz and vaginal fluid in the scene of the crime. Do not get any extra jizz or vaginal. That's the first thing they teach you in evidence school, I think. They tell you don't get any extra jizz or vag juice in the already existing vag juice and jizz. But let's say you need to tamper. That's when you, again, wear a big hefty, coat or jacket, as some sort of like a raincoat. Start jerking underneath the raincoat, and then when nobody's looking, just jizz all over the already existing jizz and vaginal juice. Ideally, I would say it's best you go prepared. It's probably not ideal to put your own DNA in the evidence soup. If you have time, prepare. This is why we have to have these schools. We have to have these online courses, because yeah, if you don't have time, you're gonna get your own DNA, and next thing you know, you're being called up to be questioned, which is no bueno. Milk a couple of fellas. Go to, glory holes at your local gas station. Go to a sex den, if there is one near you. Milk a couple of fellas, milk a couple of ladies, vaginal juice, get beakers, get Tupperware, collect it, and then store it in the fridge. And the next thing you know, you're being called, we need somebody to tamper with that. And you go there with your Tupperware and you just spill vaginal juice all over the evidence. That's one. And then maybe you'll find a note, a letter. Most of the time they'll tell you to get a Ziploc bag, and don't put it in the Ziploc. It's just leave it out, kind of like crumple it up, put it in your pocket, hopefully. And by the way, you should have ample amounts of a mixture of loose change, some chewed gum, a used condom. Have that already embedded in your pocket, so when you put the crumpled piece of paper, it's getting, again, all sorts of DNA, dirt. Maybe always carry a lighter. These are the things that they don't teach you. Carry a lighter. If the letter is intact and it's fully legible, burn a little bit of it off. Burn half of it at least. You can't go ahead and burn the whole thing, because then questions will arise like, what happened to the evidence? You'll still have it, but it's just tampered with professionally. Spit on it. Again, try to, if you can, get somebody else's spit. Get some, if somebody's driving and they've just, they're lowering their window to, just spit a loogie out the window to clear their throat. Of course, people are good people. Catch that, put in a bag, use that later on. If somebody is, if you're some sort of, a sports facility where sportsmen and women are running a lot, their lungs are working, their mucus, they're spitting in between games. Go to a football game, a soccer match, a baseball game. These guys, baseball match. I've seen these men spit. Find one with, chewing tobacco in his mouth and have him get a whole cup and spill it on top of the letter. What is that? It's evidence tampering. They say if you find money at the location of the crime, don't, take it, bag it again, put it in a Ziploc bag, and then, report how much of it you found. Here's what I'll tell you. Money doesn't even need to be accounted for. What money? That money is money here. If it's a crime, it's your money. That's the best way to tamper with that. Take the money, maybe, spend most of it, maybe leave a couple of bills, take that money and invest it into more evidence. Put it back into the business, do more evidence tampering with the money, travel, so you can evidence tamper internationally. Of course, you want to start locally, but then down the line, you do want to, it is a global age. We do live in a globalized world nowadays. So you do want to take that money, travel, evidence tamper across the sea, across the ocean, across the river, whatever, across a body of water. Piss on the evidence. A lot of times they're like, man, it's a good looking dry piece of evidence. Piss on it a little bit. That's one other way of, but again, there's so many other ways that we will get to. Of course, if you just sign up for the course, if you just take the online courses or show up in person to our facility, we'll go through it all. Hair, extra hair. It's always good to have you, because at the scene of the crime, you'll notice there's probably bodies or maybe no body. You always want to have, so your local hairdresser is your best friend. Maybe volunteer, get a broom, get a dustpan, pick up a whole bag full of hair, and different types of hair. Wait for people to get all ages, all sexes. Get some young hair, get some extremely old hair. And honestly, if you want to go above and beyond, get pubic hair. If you can find yourself in some sort of a situation where somebody, or again, you don't want to use your own if you don't have to. So shave somebody, go get a job at a Brazilian waxing facility for the ladies and maybe the gents, I'm not sure. Wax a couple of fellas' assholes, take that hair, dump it on the evidence. What is this ass wax hair? What is the evidence? It's what I found it. It's all there. Nothing's been tampered here. I didn't say that too. What else could you do? You know, these are, excuse me. Let's get a little bit of liquid in this. Throat got dry for a second. I want a wet throat. I want my throat to be wet, just like that giant whale pussy that's also wet. Wet like a whale pussy, yeah. What were we saying? Evidence tampering. So those are just some of the ways you could evidence tampering. Again, it's not anything that's available to the public, but I thought to myself, it is taking place, it is happening. Why not have professionals do it professionally? People should go to school for these things. Instead of just, that's how you get shitty jobs. They found all this evidence has been tampered with. Why? Because you brought somebody you just found off the streets and you told them to tamper with the evidence. They don't know what they're doing. Quit going on that noir web. What else is going on in and around the world? Of course, many of things, but after some evidence tampering, you might find yourself in a situation where they tell you to lay low. Lay low. Laying low, ladies and gentlemen, is one of those, it's the art of laying low. Find spaces that are low to the ground, laying low. Under the couch, one of my favorite places to lay low. Under the coffee table, also one of my favorite places to lay low. If you are in a, let's say you're in a building of sorts, if you're in a house, go to the basement, lay low. If you are in a building, if you're on like floor, anything above ground, you should quickly remove yourself, go into the basement, go into the garage, go into the parking spots, below the building, lay low. If you are sea level, if you're on a boat, you might want to go underwater, lay low, go below water level, sea level, as they say. If you are, if you're like a flight instructor or like a plane enthusiast or a skydiver, maybe, lower the plane, just travel extremely low to the ground. You want to lay low. You want to, if you're like a skydiver, jump, but like also don't open up the parachute as quickly as you normally would, because you want to lay low, you want to get low, baby. If you are in an elevator, if they tell you Layla, don't ever catch yourself being on a penthouse level. I'll tell you that. Fucking down to the lobby, to the basement. Once again, if you're in an elevator, quickly press ground level, basement, P1, P2, P3, get underground. If you're already underground, maybe you're already in if you're one of those magical little, sinkhole midgets, and you're already laying low, start digging. You can always go lower. Dig and get lower than that. If you are walking upright, start maybe crouching a little. Just if they've told you to lay low, if you must lay low, hunchbacks, underrated, lay lowers. Start doing a limbo. Just if you can break your ankle so you can lean back but still move forward. Break your ankles, lean all the way back. I'm talking 90 degrees flipped on your back, but walking on your toes. Lay low. If you could, I don't want to recommend this one, but if you must, absolutely 100%. Cut your body in half. Nothing says laying low. If you can just remove your upper torso and just set it aside. Where'd he go? He was there a second ago. He chainsaw himself in half and now he's laying low. These are just, some of the ways that you can actually go ahead and lay low. If you can come up with a few other ideas of how people can actually lay low, go ahead and leave a comment, subscribe on YouTube, of course, and let's all do this together, ladies and gentlemen. It is incredible what we can achieve together. Ah, feels good. A lot of times you'll see people walking down the streets, and if they happen to be female, you'll notice they might be off balance, and you'll wonder, why is that female off balance? Why is she limping a bit? Is she walking a little bit crooked? Is she walking a little bit, what's she doing? Is she tilting a bit? Is that bitch tilting again? What's going on? I'll tell you the number one reason why females, 90% of the statistics and the graphs show, the charts, if you look over here, show that women tend to be leaning and tilting more so than they normally should because of their partners not massaging both of the tits. Gentlemen, other ladies who are into ladies, if you're massaging tits, make sure, if you're rubbing a titty, if you're eating a titty, if you're playing with a titty, make sure to equal amounts of playtime for both titties. Far too often I've seen it, and it breaks my heart, because I know there are good people out there. I know there are people that are trying their best, yet they find themselves in situations where they're off balance. And I say, why, God, why? Why must it be so? And you know what? There's a reasonable and logical explanation for everything. I did my research and I found out that men who tend to be right-handed play with the left tit 75 to 85% more than they do with their right tit. Because if you're lying on top of her, your right hand immediately goes to the left tit. And you're kissing up on her neck and you're playing with that right tit and everything's fine. She likes it too. She likes it too. But next thing you know, 5 years, everything's fine. 7 years, nothing noticeable, nothing major. Come 10 years, ladies and gentlemen, you've been in this relationship just every day, squeezing a titty, mainly the left titty, because you're right-handed. And next thing you know, she's limping. Next thing you know, she's walking sideways. She leaning to the left. Why? Why must it be so? We have been given two hands, ladies and gentlemen. Please massage both titties equally. Switch it up. 5 minutes on this tit, 5 minutes on the other. Same thing with the left-handed fellas and ladies too. I'm telling you right now. Female tits are the equivalent to a cat's whiskers. You just want to make sure they maintain equilibrium. So don't play around with it too much, but also play with it, equally. Play with both of them equally. I don't want to see people, especially as Thanksgiving season, but it's also as fall winter season, which is skating on ice is another thing that people are going to be. You don't want to see bitches just fucking spinning out of control and just bumping their head and getting a concussion just because you felt like, I'm going to stick to one titty. I'm going to just, I'm doing a great just one titty rubber this guy, just one titty massage this guy. You'll say that. Equal amounts of titty massage. Make sure you do that, because then you'd have one get bigger, one stays smaller, and that's when I've seen ladies just trying to walk but really spinning around like a little kayak with only one paddle, paddling in one direction and one direction only. It's a sad sight, but again, we could put a stop to this by 2030, ladies and gentlemen. If we just put all our efforts together, we could put a stop to all this madness. Speaking of madness, speaking of tilting, the Earth, we just found out, has tilted over the past 2 decades 31.5 inches. That is 12 inches like a sub. 24 would be like 2 subs. 31 is more than 2 feet of tilt. 24, 31. We're looking at 2 full subs and a half a sub of tilting. Doesn't matter, inches. 31.5 inches, we are tilting the ground. I noticed myself the other day actually rolling everywhere. Rolling all over the place. And I said, I've worked on my center of gravity. I don't know about you folks. People are falling all around me. Sure, they were, the elderly, they were like 107. They were frail and weak. Of course, the winds didn't help, and neither did my, dispensing of a few marbles on the ground. None of that helped, and these people did fall. And I said, hey, does anybody else feel a little bit off balance? And before you know it, we dug into it, and we found out together that the earth is tilted 31.5 inches because we are apparently pumping water out of the groundwater. And that is not good, I think. Or maybe it's for the best. Perhaps it is. The beautiful thing is that if we just tilt over, can we tilt it so that Canada can get closer to the equator so we can get a little bit warmer? We're already pretty just a little bit, if we could just lower where Canada is in terms of, it gets cold up in this bitch quick. So quick. Winter lasts 6 months. But I'm just saying, if we could just get it to tilt a little bit more, if we can go down to where Mexico or South America is laying right now, and I do feel like it's, hey, countries that have you south of the equator, you've been enjoying the sweet warmth and weather. I say it's high time that we switch it up. Which way are we tilting? Are we tilting? We're tilting. Are we? Man, I hope we're not tilting up. We can't afford to get colder here. I'll tell you right now. I'm just letting you know whatever we need to do to tilt it so that Canada can just go a little bit further south. I've also been trying to, we could pick it up and just move the country a little bit further south. I don't think that's too much to ask for. Just push everybody a little bit down. If we could everybody just scooch a little bit down. Oh, we're grounded people. We're not gonna budge. But I tell you, it's a good thing to know that it's only a matter of water, because guess what? We have more of it. I don't know, drill some holes, because they found these underwater oceans underneath the oceans, and apparently these oceans beneath the oceans have more water than they're more wet. So wherever we took the water from, if it's fucking up our equilibrium, if it's fucking up the tilt, puncture a hole, and divert that water through some sort of channel into wherever the water was taken out of it. It was the ground. Isn't all water groundwater? You don't have we're not talking about precipitation and where it lands, it's all groundwater, isn't it? The oceans are groundwater. The seas are groundwater. The rivers are groundwater. We don't have any hover water, not that I know of. But if we do, I am timestamping and also patenting hover water, in bottles that hover. Because you don't want to be tapping into that groundwater too much. Get the hover water, bitch. Take care of the environment. Why you keep drinking from the groundwater? They'll say that. That's why I advocate for people that, you should just drink rainwater. That's probably the safest bet, to leave everything kind of be if you want to not fuck around with the groundwater. But the good thing is we could always fill it back up, I think. That's because it's water. Water is, it's just filling up space. And we could literally take anything and fill it up. Garbage, recycling. I'm not saying those are the first options, but I'm also saying if a place needs to be filled up with weight so that we tilt back up or further down, again, let's it's like a loaded die or loaded dice. Let's load it up is what I'm saying. Let's load it up and let's have a few countries who are, the tanned nations. Let's bring you guys up a little bit, and countries who are, Greenland, it could use a little bit of tilt to the south. You know what I'm talking about? The country that I bought for a few dollars just a little while ago. But, I'm, me country, a Sioux country is what I always say. It's our country. It's fine. It didn't go through, but I will bid again $5 for Greenland. Going once. I don't hear any other bids thus far. I'll say it. We can just let it tilt all the way around. Honestly, it wouldn't even we could cycle around. You know what I mean? Let's do a loop. Because we all like roller coasters. Everybody likes going upside down, inside out. What if we empty it out and then fill it back up real quick? Get a wash cycle. Get that spin cycle on the earth. because apparently we're already spinning anyway, but let's us add a little bit of our own spin to it. Let's get this shit, you know what I'm talking about? Let's get it moving. Let's be difficult for planes to land, of course, but that's airplanes, figure it out. Worst case scenario, we just mobilize all of us, however many of us it takes, grown men and women who will do anything for the safety of humanity and our global overall human well-being, for the human family. If we all need to just get in one location, find this ground hole which carries all the groundwater, just do a communal piss. One, I think if, you know, what are we at? 8 billion and change humans, 4 billion are adults, you know, active, proper, you know, probably, I don't know how many of them are children and how many of them are like the elderly who can't piss on command. But then they can piss almost, you know, when they piss a lot too. So you know what, bring in the elderly. I think we got 6 billion people ready to just mobilize and piss at the same time in any hole, and we'll fill it up and we will tilt again and again until we are nice and comfortable with our tilt. Is that a good thing? Can these, you know, what if we empty it all out? What if we dropped? That's been one of my concerns. What if it all stops and drops? What if the earth just drops? What if we make it too light and what if adding more water would make it drop? Because we're just giant globe just floating in midair. So removing the water would actually, it would make us rise. We'd probably get closer to the moon. A little bit closer to the moon wouldn't help. Or maybe it would. Maybe we don't need a stairway to heaven. Maybe we do. Maybe that'll get us closer to it. Maybe that's okay, fine. You know, maybe that'll be like maybe we need stairway to heaven, needed, yes, fine. Maybe also put in a you know, escalator to the moon, bitch. Put a little bit of a just walking aid to the moon. Get us closer. Let's lasso the moon in. You know what I'm talking about? Just yank it back here. I don't know what I'm saying. Of course, I'm just happy to know that we are tilting. It feels good. I'll tell you what, if you are rolling things down a hill, your job is much easier now, depending on the, you know. Again, I don't know which way we're tilting this, or it could have made your job increasingly more difficult because now you're fucking Sisyphus going up a 90-degree, you're going up a wall now. But the good thing is it could always be adjusted with more water. That's where I'm hopeful, and I know we can puncture more holes in, again, the underground oceans, beneath the oceans. Just, again, it's a way of if we could just channel the water, sure we can figure it out. We need some more physicists on this and other subjects. If you are looking for a way to, you know, go and experience an emergency room, but you've kind of been let down over the past few years or your entire life because you're like, I want to go to an emergency room. I have an emergency and I need to go to the emergency room. And you just want to be with people who are doing more emergencies. Like, let's say you fell off a ladder, God forbid that is. Or maybe you were juggling chainsaws and one of the chainsaws fell on your cock. And your cock is just, you know, you chop the tip of your cock. It's just like wiggling on the ground. And you're like, gotta go to an emergency room where there are other emergencies similar to my emergency, so I could feel like I belong, so I could feel like I'm amongst my peers. And you go to this so-called emergency room, and it's nothing with solutions and, you know, help, essentially, is what it is, which is not good, because an emergency room is where you'd like to go if you'd like to fall off a ladder again, or get a chainsaw to fall on you again, or, you know, have people who have been in other accidents. This is a place where they fix emergencies. Essentially, emergency rooms, my problem with the whole thing is they should name them fix them rooms. It's not an emergency. You don't go to that room to get more emergencies. It should be called a solution room. A solution room is what it should be called. That's what an emergency, that's what my pet, that's my peeve right there. That is naming the actual facility incorrectly, fucking up with people who are eagerly waiting to show up to a place where there's more emergency. Just somebody had a work accident. They took a nail gun and just nailed their hand to their thigh. And they're like, where can I go to get more people with their hands nailed to their thighs? And the next thing you know, you go to the emergency room and they help you and they assist you. And you're like, all I wanted was a room filled with more emergencies. But this despicable act of deceit and just lies, that's what that is. So I'm just petitioning, I'm raising awareness today if we can change the name of emergency rooms to solution rooms or fix-it rooms, so that there's not a discrepancy for people who like to go to the emergency room to maybe have their emergency reenacted, so that they're like, yes, you had a golf cart accident, you were drunk and you ran over a gopher, and then a gopher jacked the golf cart and ran you over, and then you're like, I want to go to the emergency room and like have that experience or something similar to it. You don't want to go in there and have them fixing the gopher and you, and just that leads to an awkward afternoon/evening. Whereas if you were to show up there and have like a miniature version of you guys just like be reenacted in some sort of either, some sort of like 3D printed version of you guys just running over each other, just a gopher and you in a golf cart or something, or like maybe there's a, again, I'm just putting ideas out there. I like to see the emergency room name changed immediately to solution it or fix it rooms, one of those two, because emergency room is misleading and I don't think people are happy. Just want to see people get what they want for once. Ladies and gents, boys and girls, I believe we've heard of these things. It's becoming popular more and more. And I'm happy, and I'd like all of us to get more of this. Super yachts, mega yachts, floating cities on the water. It's becoming a thing. And it's happening, and people are investing more in super yachts. There's been and it's great. I like everybody to get a super yacht. I want everybody to have super yachts. I want everybody to have mega floating city on, just a building on water. I've said that, I'll say it again. But there's a case of a beautiful gentleman who I don't know. I think he's British. I'm gonna say he is because it feels right in here. I think his name's Tommy Allen. And he apparently had a large yacht, a mega yacht, super yacht built for him. And after the customized super yacht was built, he saw it and he didn't even get on it. And he's like, sell it, I want to buy a bigger one. This one's not big enough for me and my family. And rightly so, sir. Everybody should be able to get a yacht. Everybody should be able to one day say, yes, this giant super yacht is for me and my family. And also, I read a little bit. I think this is great, because this gentleman is not just a super yacht enthusiast. He's also, I forget the name of his company, but he's also into adventuring under the ocean or right above the ocean, but like he's a wet adventurer, you could say that. He's running a company that looks into providing technologies that assist in underwater ocean exploration, I think. That's what it is. So that's good. I'm happy about that. But also, just side note, the yacht is not big enough. That's totally, I myself, literally, this happened to me a while ago. I didn't want to talk about it. I had a huge yacht. I get it, bro. It wasn't big enough. I said, you know what? Fucking sell the thing. It's kind of low-key embarrassing a little bit. Get out of here. I want a bigger one. I got a bigger one, and I didn't want to bring it up, but that one was too small too. It's one of those, sucks when you're like, I want a huge, and you tell them, you're like, build the biggest yacht. And they build you a big yacht, and you tell them how big you want it, and they build it, and you see it, you're like, that's not big enough. I myself have gone through 3-4 times this happened to me in the past year again. A little bit, it's one of those, like, it's a little bit embarrassing. It happens to all of us on a regular basis. So I get it. But on a side note, on just like one of those like side quest, side note, I do want to see people get like, you know, because super yachts, like from the business, like if you put, like, forget this individual, forget the business of the, you know, deep sea exploration. There is a thing with like, you know, after a certain amount of money, you're just like, how do I, it's not even like, you know, what do I do to flex? Maybe it's not even flexing, maybe it's just, but if people happen to be wondering how else could they flex, I've not seen this, and I'd like to just propose an idea to see extra, affluent, super rich people, males, females, everybody should be doing this. I have not seen any people get giant cocks. I've not seen gentlemen who are super rich get a huge penile implant, and just a massive penile implant. And the lady, I'm talking gentlemen, like huge. Because why have all that money and not get the biggest? I would, and I'm on my way. My yacht is on its way, my 5th yacht, which is going to be the biggest one thus far, but we'll see. But I'm just saying, I'm working on it. I will one day, I want to just go the length of, I want to just get a cock that's as big as one of my legs. I still want it to be proportional. I don't want it to be bigger than one of my legs. I just want it to be just a third leg, just a giant. And because that's a statement. That's when you walk into a room and people know. Because a lot of times you won't get a chance to walk in with your yacht. I know I've tried walking into office buildings with your yacht is so embarrassing. You crash into the buildings, you run over babies are crying, mothers are crying. It's like, get over yourselves, babies. So it's but if you walk into a building with just a giant cock, then it's game over. People know you're in the upper echelon of, you know, you're there, you're fucking doing it. And ladies too, I do want to say, because it's not just like super elite rich, like, you know, I want all of us to have the opportunity at least get there one step at a time. I'm not saying everybody should, like, you know, still work for it and all, but I want everybody to have these things. And ladies should also get tight pussies. You should tighten it up. If you have like super rich, if you got divorced and you're like a multi-billionaire now, get that tight pussy, get the tightest pussy, and walk in a room and just suck the air out of the room with your tight pussy. Get it? I'm talking tight pussy. I'm not talking about your own version, like tight puss. I'm talking like, you know, not talking about when you were like in your 20s, still like, you know, elasticity and all that, still like tighter. I'm not talking about when you were younger. Not even talking about like, because that's talking tight. I'm not talking about like, you know, like, well, the tightest pussy is a baby's pussy. Everybody knows that. I'm talking tighter. Get that fetus puss. You got that fetus puss money. Get the tight, because that's probably the tightest. That's the tightest puss. I'm not saying, you know, it'll be different in terms of usage. I'm not saying how it's, but just for, you put that on the table. Fetus pussy, that lady's loaded. She's the princess of wherever the fuck, insert name. How you know? Because she got that fetus puss. She tight. So I'm just saying, use your wealth wisely, like I do, or plan on doing down again. Just a giant 7-foot cock. I'll wrap it around like a scarf around my neck and keep the wind from my face. But, you know, those are just ideas. Because yes, it screams money, it yells money, it says also happens to be a side business or main business, whatevs. But yachts I'm over it. I'm over yachts. Everybody has a yacht. Everybody's been on a yacht. All the rap videos, yachts. I want to see rappers with giants. If you're not getting huge dick implants and you're like, I'm all about it. I don't think so. If you're out there still twerking, you're a female rapper still twerking, I love it. But again, fetus puss is where it's at, I think. No, I know. I think we all know. I think we all know. The holiday season, of course, isn't, it's right around the corner, and you're like, what do I get my family and friends? What do I get them that says I love you? I've been thinking about you. Get them, everybody has a phone, everybody has access to cameras. Get yourself, get with your partner, male, female partner. Remove your clothing items when she's on her period. Engage in the sexuals when she's bleeding, when she's on the rag. Remove the rag, of course. Have you guys just right there, I'm talking P to V. That's penis to Venus. That's penis to vaginas. That's coctopus. Coctopus. That's coctopus. That sounds like an animal. We'll get to that later. Start bleeding all over his cock, and in the video I want you to record yourself screaming, yelling things like, quit eating my dick with your pussy, Rebecca. Quit. You gotta make her quit eating my dick with, but keep eating my dick with your, I love it, Rebecca. You're ripping my cock off, Rebecca. No, Rebecca, no. Yell and scream and have blood splatter all over the place. Record it. Airdrop it. It's the holiday season to your family or friends and say, Mary, it's coming up. I'm just giving you time because a lot of people, and we'll get more gift ideas. I know it's holiday season. A lot of times people are like, put it to last minute. You're busy out. That's why I come up with these ideas for you guys and gals, so that you're not, rushing to wherever, just last minute trying to think of something. You're like, oh, it needs to be personal. I don't want to just buy it. Well, what's more personal than your lady bleeding all over your cock and you screaming in agony and saying you like it? I love the teeth implants that we put in your pussy. Every $1's worth it. Do that and send it to your family, friends, loved ones, acquaintances, business partners, associates, maybe. People you haven't kept in touch with in some time. It's time to reconnect. But also, because it is the holiday season, I've thought about this, and a lot of times people will be like, oh, I want to get my girl, I want to get my man's a pet, what kind of pet do I get him? Yes, dogs and cats are lovely and they're trad and everybody loves them, but I decided to merge two of our favorite animal species together, the shark and the octopus. I'd like to introduce the sharktopus to the masses, to the populace. If you like sharp teeth and a lot of tentacles, well, don't worry about having to go to different places. Now you can get the sharktopus with us, which is the best of both worlds. An animal which will rip you apart, but also hug you really, really nice and tight with 8 arms and legs. Are they arms? Are they legs? For you to know and for us to enjoy. Get the sharktopus this coming holiday season for you and your family members, and say, here's to you, Dad, as the shark just, nibbles on his neck and, jerks him off with multiple hands whilst fingering your parents and grandparents, of course, but that's you thinking and saying to yourself, yes. A box of chocolate, sure, it could do it. Flowers, yes. Maybe I'll bring in maybe I'll make the gravy this holiday season, you'll say that. But nothing says I love you like sharktopus. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, take care of yourselves. Peace out.